Sometimes when we use things, we begin to incorporate them into our lives. Soon we find it hard to think of a time when we didn't use such an item. We find ourselves dependent on that item. The same can be true when we start to work with the entities that we create, and even the ones that we don't. Of course, depending on the level of dependency, this may not necessarily be a bad thing. We have dependencies with all kinds of things in our lives, and without them, we may have to function differently. It may take us longer, but we are still able to function. The dependencies that may develop through working with entities may only reach that level. When we come to depend on entities more than most other things, we may be putting ourselves into the path of problems. Some people create entities that do things like inspire creative thought or allow the picking of a winning horse. For a writer, if the entity of creative inspiration were to not work for some reason, after a long time of reliable service, the writer may find him or herself in a real predicament. The person that makes his or her luxury income through the earnings on horse betting may soon find themselves with a real problem when they start losing money as opposed to making it. There is nothing wrong with having a mild dependency on an entity that you create, as long as you are still able to function normally without that entity. When you create an entity, do so with the understanding that the entity is only here to help. The entity is not here to do everything for you. If you follow this rule of thumb, you should not experience any negative issues when working with the entity that you create.